Today is another day of us being here, and I think you'll find something very interesting today. I know I do, and I think that you all will too. There'll be some kinds of different ways, and we have with us today Jacob Atem. And Jacob will be with you in just a minute or two, but I want to welcome you, first of all, to being here for our Sunday reflections. It's always great to see you. I see you a lot every once in a while, and we'll
Yes,
be doing it with your family one day again. So that's it.
that's right. Thank you, Rick. It's
All right. Well,
always
it's
good to
great.
see you.
It's great. Well, I want to talk about, first of all, our people that help us be here today. And I want to start with the She family because we'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to them. The She family is one of the most generous and community focused families in St. Johns County. You know, though their work, through their work, they work at Tringali Barn, a premier event and wedding venue, and the leadership is by Chris Shee. The family continues to support and uplift countless local causes. So many, so many. Their commitment to giving back makes a lasting impact. Does on me and it will on you. And we are truly grateful for all they do in our community, very much so. And thank you, She family, and you make St. Johns County stronger. And we're also very blessed to have today, again, as we've been, the Clam Shack of St. Augustine, Florida. And they are just having the craving, fresh, flavorful seafood in the heart of historic St. Augustine. And if you come to DJ's Clam Shack at 21 Hippolytus Street, where Northeast meets Key West, born in the Florida Keys, rooted in New England tradition, DJ's serves up lobster rolls, and I've had some of those, and they're unbelievably great. Fried clams, conch fritters, and more, made fresh with the highest quality ingredients at prices you can afford. They're open Tuesday through Sunday, 11 to 9, and it's the perfect spot to take a bite. Stroll the streets of Old St. Augustine and taste one of the best seafood experiences in the country. So be here today and let us continue on with our discussion because, you know, it's this is a reflection day that I find to be significant. And it's been affecting me a lot over this weekend. But I want to have the folks out here that are watching or listening to what you're doing tell them a little bit about you, Jacob, and how you've been. I should probably call you Doctor Jacob because of your PhD, but that's not the way it started, is it?
No. Well, thank you, Rick, because reflection is very important, very significant. Over 30 years ago, uh, I was young. I was
You were
born,
6, right?
I was 6 years old. I was born in a country called Sudan. And unfortunately, the tragedy hit me where the Sudan Armed Forces, the militia, attacked my village. And in that village, I became an orphan. So today, you saying reflecting, that's where I start my reflection on those dark times that I lost my parents. I lost 2.5 million people in the entire South Sudan. I was forced to be an adult overnight where I don't know where to go. I had to walk more than 2,000 miles. I had to drink urine that I don't want to. I have to survive. And now, reflecting 30 years later, I was full of anger, upset. I was, I feel like I was unworthy. But looking at it now, I was pretty angry with God on this question of why do I have to travel over 2,000 miles?
Well, let's talk about when you get to that 2,000-mile walk, where you go to next.
So, traveling while the enemy pursuing us.
How about those crocodiles?
Yes, we went to Ethiopia, and on our way back, there was a river similar to St. John River that was very infested, called the Gila River, infested with crocodiles, and we lost great men. People were either drowned, they don't know how to swim. People were eaten by crocodile because the crocodile was everywhere. People didn't know how to cross, so the enemy captured them. So we lost quite a bit. It was this one single day that we lost a lot of the lost boys. Now, fast forward, once we crossed the river, we went from one country, which is Ethiopia, back to South Sudan, and then to Kenya. And we lived there for 10 years. And let me tell you, living as a refugee, it was again, you are at the mercy of the generosity of the American people, for example, who donate food. UNHCR, the agency who you are dependent on, where can you get the hot meal? And reflecting on that, as much as I was upset, I was grateful that I'm alive.
Yeah, but didn't a lot of people there take the food away from you?
And the local people would always come and rob us at the gunpoint. Well, let's say the UN would give us the food rations.
Right.
With that food rations, we would get it, and then someone would come and rob us at the gunpoint.
All right. I want you to get past that finally, where Congress then passes a Congress so that people like you could come to the United States. So I want you to go to that place now and where you now go and where you are today.
And so I want to brag about the great country called America. You know, when you are sometime in the darkness, you don't see light. Somebody, somewhere, believe it or not, is praying for you. And that was our case. A person proposed a bill for both Democrat and Republican in the Congress to say, you know what, the Lost Boys have suffered, enough is enough. So if you can be called as tired, poor, you name it, that what happened. So there was one person who proposed to the both Democrat and Republican in our United States Congress and said, you know what, it would be great to bring the Lost Boys here. And indeed, that person, I'm so gratitude. I have so much gratitude for that person. I appreciate that person because that's why I'm here today.
All right. So now you go to instead of being in South Sudan, you go to a place that's very cold.
It's very cold. So what happened is, as the Lost Boys, there are two groups. When we were resettled here, there is what we call unaccompanied minor. So those who are under the age of 18, you come here, you have to have a foster care.
And that's what you did.
And that's where I was. I was in a foster care being sponsored by Lutheran Social Services of Michigan. So I was in Michigan.
Lansing, right?
Lansing, Michigan. And you know what? Speaking of reflection, in life, you only need one person to believe in you. That doesn't need money. So I was sponsored by my foster mom. Her name is Jane White, an incredible woman who believed me and believed in me, and God bless her. We're still close today in Michigan. She gave me the room, and it need one person who proposed to the Congress, and the Congress said that it was good, both parties, okay? It was good to bring a person like me. Now I am proud American citizen.
Okay.
That
But you didn't speak English.
No, it was hard. And by the way, English is the hardest language, to learn. For example, I was watching a movie and it said Hakuna Matata, and I just came from Kenya.
Yeah.
And I said, what does that mean? How do they know the Kiswahili? Because I speak that. But you know what? I didn't speak English. And it's so difficult for somebody who's extrovert like me.
Okay.
You know me.
Well, after I do, but I'm going to keep on because I want these people to hear where you went after that. You were able to go to a college, right?
Yeah, so I worked.
After you learned English.
After learning English, I went to a small Christian college called Spring Arbor University.
In Lansing.
It's in Spring Arbor in Jackson, Michigan.
Okay.
Got my pre-med, and this is where I co-founded an organization. We're going to talk about it later, called Southern Sudan Healthcare Organization in 2008, where we say we bring health and hope to where it is lost.
What was your final grades there at that one?
Oh,
We have valedictorians. We have all kinds. What was your?
you know, missing out of all the elementary school, all this, I had difficulties getting into college, but I was, by God's grace, I got in at to Spring Arbor by playing soccer, and that's how I paid my first degree. So my grade were okay. I wanted to be a doctor, but God has different plan. I didn't think I was gonna, because I wanted to build health clinic and church back to the village that Mar where I
what,
was. It was destroyed.
what was your real name at the time before your name became Jacob?
So my real name goes on Atem, and because I became Christian and I accept Jesus Christ as my Savior, I picked the name Jacob,
All
which
right.
is I love.
Yeah.
Said, God, I'll, I'm gonna wrestle with you until you bless me, and that's the name that I chose. So it's now Jacob Thon Atem.
All right. And so now you go there. You graduate from college, and where do you go next?
I did my master's of public health because education is the key to success. I graduated from master's from Michigan State University with my master's of public health, and then I got married at Jacksonville.
What you met her here, and where what village was she from?
She's also happened to be from my village. Her name, my beautiful wife Linda, with 3 kids. We grew up in the same village, and God took her in different route. She was in Kenya. I came in 2001. She came in '94. I met her in Sudan. We got married in Jacksonville, Florida. It was just a blessing. And then I was like, I'm going to do a PhD at the great university called University of Florida.
So now you have a PhD, in what area is that?
So I did my PhD in environmental and global health because most of the time that we were traveling, what I have seen is a lot of us were suffering from what we call communicable diseases,
Right.
which is a basic preventable diseases that could be prevented. So I want to help back, but I want knowledge, and that knowledge I got at University of Florida. Then I did my postdoc at John Hopkins, which is John Hopkins University in the Center for Humanitarian Health. My goal is always helping the vulnerable, the needy people, whether it's here in America or back home. And so that's what I do now.
And aren't you involved with Rotary in Gainesville?
Yes, yes, I am part of the Rotary International, Rotary Club of Gainesville, and I love Rotary mission. Is we say services above yourself.
Yeah.
It's not always about you. It's extended
Service
beyond.
above self.
Yeah, services above self. And back to our sponsors that were you were talking about earlier, that's what they do. It's not about the, it's helping the community. It helps the other people.
So now I want to get a little bit before we go into some more, because we'll
Yeah.
get to a place in just a minute.
Yeah.
But I want to give you my reflections because I
Yes.
knew you were coming.
Yes.
And one of the places that we were at, I was able to be there yesterday, and and we'll talk about that a little bit later more. But it started me getting focused on where I am,
Mm.
because you have to remember that I've known you for quite a while, and these reflections of where you are with God
Mm.
change every place you go. And you wonder, why today? Why did this happen today? Why did this go on? And then you find out why. Sometimes you never do. But I understood that we were going to be together.
Mm.
And I wanted to be sure that we'll share what we do and what we are, in knowing that we can help others.
Mm.
And helping others is so difficult because we seem to feel that we have to deal, and we do, with our family, with others that we know. But we don't have to just go after something that is we don't need.
Mm.
We may want some. We always do. We always like different things, but we also have the ability to help others.
That's right.
And so for me, I'll get into that a little bit later as well about my reflections today. But I would like to talk about what you have coming up here in next week or right after that. So tell me that today is the 11th
Yes,
of that. And so I know there's an event that you're having, and I know that I've been to that.
that's right.
But I want to make sure that others that might want to come there and see how they can be of help to you and to your organization,
That's
that
right.
would make it so much better to help the people in your country. But to get to that,
Yeah.
I want you to tell me what's going on in your country today.
So I am the CEO of Southern Sudan Healthcare Organization, short for SSHCO. Our mission is to bring health and hope to where it is lost. I co-founded this organization 17 years ago on the campus of Spring Arbor, based on this scripture: "For whom much is given, much is required." It was no longer about me. We've been operating in South Sudan for 17 years, and we run two clinics. We are in charge of 59,000 internally displaced people, particularly women and children. Most of our funding goes to improve maternal and child health in South Sudan.
Well, that's because it's the highest number of deaths of women that
That's
get
right.
pregnant.
Yeah, and it's the maternal mortality rate is the highest in the whole world. And so, just to let you know, there's only one nurse for 39,000 patients. That is unusual. And so, because of that, we do gala every year in Gainesville, Florida. So mark your calendar. What you were asking is on August 23rd.
So you reach for the stars,
It's
right?
Reach for the Stars. August 23rd from 5:30 to 9 o'clock. We will be doing a fundraiser, a gala at the Best Western. And so all these proceeds, the money goes to improve maternal and child health. And let me just tell you this. Last week, we have seen over 192 patients just suffering from malaria. Let me ask you this, my fellow Floridian. When was the last time you or your grandkids or you yourself or your child has suffered from malaria? I think the answer is no. These are the typical issues we are dealing with. A simple thing, malaria. Nobody should be able to die today from malaria because it's something we have a solution for. We have malaria medication. So all the proceeds, again, the money we raise in this event, we go and treat these people. And as I reflect today, that what kept me awake at night is that I'm so blessed to have a clinic here in America. I have my kids, you and I could check ourselves in there. But just a simple thing that if we don't have the funding to be able to treat these patients, it's what really recently is what kept me awake.
Well, you created those with all the funds that you had because they didn't have those, did they?
No.
You brought those over during that 17 years.
Yeah. So every time we have the money, we wire to South Sudan. We buy the medication locally. And just it's a joy to provide health services. It's one of the many examples to when Jesus is always talk about whatever you do to these needy people,
Right.
it's
Well,
what
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
whatever you do to these needy people, I am with you.
I think that. So, but what you've also done is for the women because you can't get enough doctors to come. So, how are you helping them in that process too?
Because we are lacking enough nurses, physician assistant, nurse practitioners. So we do something called train the trainer model approach. We train what we call traditional birth attendant. TBAs, traditional birth attendant, are think of back in the day like your midwife who has been in the community for 30, 40 years, but they're not skilled on today technology. So what we do is we train them, and they're in the community. And just last month, we delivered 31 babies because of that.
Wow.
And they have been in the community. They understand. Of course, for example, just to give you an example, this is maybe gross to you, But when the baby is coming out, they use their mouth. They don't have what do we call the gloves. They don't have a scissor to cut the umbilical cord. So we train them with the basic health care, and they're the ones saving lives. Last time there was a premature baby. There's no oxygen and all this, but because of the support we had, we were able to transfer to the next high level in Juba. So when we're talking about it, it's something to train them to be able to do healthcare delivery. And so that's the model we have. It's not a high tech like here in Florida when we think about healthcare. And just let you know, you take a guess, just to run the clinic that we see a lot of patients, it's less than 350,000 a year. If you think of a one hospital, you name it,
Right.
one hospital, how much millions of dollars? So it's not much to run the healthcare setting in this setting. It's very, very cost effective. It's the local healthcare workers who are working. We're 501(c)(3), which is we are tax deductible. So we raise the money to go help them there. And if we don't have the money, and particularly it's really bad now because of the way the global economy is going, the politic of the whole world, things has been cut. Funding has been cut. So it's people like me who have trained local people, because it's local people with local solutions. They are running the healthcare. We're just here to support them, to help them, to raise money, but we're not the one doing the work. It is them.
I appreciate that, and I want you to know this, that from our standpoint, we know that there are so many people here too in America that are going through a lot of these areas things. Not like you, not like you. There's no way that anybody has had all of the deaths that have occurred, all of the ways that the people come from North Sudan and they come in there to still try to take away things from you, and but we do know this. We do know this, that we help other people, and you have to help everybody because we live in a circle, and that circle includes you and me and everybody around the world into that circle.
Yes.
And if that circle doesn't continue to be a good circle, like in Ukraine, it's been very difficult, and others, and I know that because I've been there, and so from part to part, you have to have it together, and we're not trying to make it because I want to talk a little bit about the basketball. The people that you have that play basketball are some of the tallest people in the world.
Yes.
And you and I had been with your nephew.
Yeah.
And just recently, last year, I guess it was, and stuff when he was here.
Yeah.
But he was what, 18 years old?
Yeah.
And
he was 15. 15 at that
15
time.
years old. 15 years old.
Yeah.
And I know that that he was a little bit taller than you and me. And I think we'll probably figure that out here in a minute or two, and we'll see it. Yep, I think that's him. Yep, there it is. And,
yes.
And I used to say that I was in the center, but that's not me. So so that's it. So there we go. And we they bring him over to see if they can be a basketball player.
Yes.
And they bring him here, and actually one of the top basketball players of all time has been from Sudan.
Yes, from South Sudan. Let me tell you this. The world be ready for South Sudan. Remember those two words, South Sudan, when it comes to basketball, because we are the tallest in the world. It goes back to Manute Bol, who was 7'7", playing in the league, and God rest him in peace, because when he was in NBA, Manute would spend all of his money, speaking of the theme of helping others, to send that money back to us, and he would come and help us. Look at what it is now. Manute has passed, and we are taking the baton to help others. And that's where last year, South Sudan basketball, these people have nothing. These kids were playing the best players like LeBron James. And I remember the first game they played, the South Sudan lost 100 to 101. The last shot was done by LeBron James. And here's the exciting part. Kids like my nephew, in which we just
Yes,
met, and you
sure.
saw in the next 5 years you will see there's another kid called Maluach, Kaman Maluach, who just got drafted top 10 this year.
Right.
He played for that team. You will remember this name called South Sudan. They are so skinny, and I'm not talented like they are, but it's something to watch for.
Well,
The girls, the women,
yeah.
they're now in the FIFA, and they're playing. So this issue of basketball, it's something that people are saying in the next 5 years.
And the reason I'm asking that question is that if you in here that are watching enjoy anything like basketball or other sports, then what you have that is so important is having these people live.
Mhm.
And if they don't live, then we're going to lose some other things. So everything has its meaning.
Yes,
I think that's what Solomon said as well.
that's
And
right.
and he did that in the Proverbs. And there is a meaning, and there is a time for everything. And I think that was where we are. And so going to now where I was yesterday, because I want to kind of
Yeah.
run the gauntlet, I guess it is, between where you are in South Sudan and where I am here in St. Augustine.
Hmm.
And it was this way that is so much that's here. You know, we have a fantastic place where first time that slaves were ever given freedom in America, right here in this community. And it's at Fort Mose. And I was there at Fort Mose yesterday morning, right at the time it opens. And I went out on, they have a big walk called the Freedom Walk
Mm.
that allows you to go all the way out to where you can't get to the Fort Mose anymore. There is a new one that's been created to show what it looked like, but it's ways out further. And I was by myself and I was thinking, where am I going? Why did I come out here today? Why did I get here today? And I come out there at the very end, and it was nature at all over. And I think that what we saw were these birds, and I'll let that kind of go through, and you'll see where they are. And it's so amazing where they can be, and they're all through that whole area. And just looking at them is amazing because they are all there, and that's a place that they can be and to enjoy the place that we have in our community. And that's not very far from where we were when were with your nephew, just a little ways over.
Yes.
And so that to me, when you bring in, and this is why I thought that the same thing happens.
Hmm.
We have not only previous slaves, but we also have the nature that only God can create.
Hmm.
And so my reflections were, well, tomorrow I'm going to be with Jacob, and I wanted to be sure that I was ready to understand the nature of where you were when you were 6 years old.
Wow.
And while you were out there with the cow, just doing the work at that time in a village that you thought would never be harmed.
Mm.
And you had your parents there. And then later you have an uncle that dies as well because he was taller than you.
Mm.
And you saw all of those things. And that reflection goes deep within. It goes deep within. In fact, I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't sure, but I did this poem today that I wanted to kind of share because it's somewhat of the same. It's called Heat, Snow, and Rain. It's dark and chills the winter cold. It must be something else. It must be what we only imagine. What we only imagine would happen to you. No one but God knows where you are in winter days, even though here you are in Michigan State. It does not show the summer heat, winter snow, and downpours of rain. Sunlight days are more often than cold winter days, but even now the summer is almost gone again.
Mm.
Maybe it's the heat and not the snow or rain that keeps us wondering why. Days of darkness challenge the moments we thought once were hidden. In case you do not understand, Robert Frost and Shakespeare have so many reasons why each of us must reflect on what's coming next. But those poems, the ones of obviously Robert Frost, and the Five Acts by Shakespeare, reflects the common feelings and a wide range of themes that bring us back to where we once began. So when you are at that spot where there is heat, snow, and rain, you wonder why the seasons are far apart. Remembering now is where and when your heart exemplifies life itself. So I ended up doing that because I was reflecting on it for the things that I knew that we'd be there. And that's why you see the winter and stuff, because you had gone from the summer of down South Sudan that's all heat, and you have all of that, and now you go to the coldest place. And that's where our heart goes. Our heart goes to those places. We are in those places every day. Where are we in relationship to each other? Are we in the darkness? Are we in the winters where people die? Or are we in the summers where people live?
Wow. When I reflect, let me give you this, what I call, but God had a plan.
Okay.
A testimony of grace. We need grace, survival, and purpose. And just I'm reflecting back on what I call 30 years. It's one of my favorite scripture is in Genesis. Okay. Genesis 50 verse 20. And here's what it said when I reflect back. It said, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So when I think of that, 34 years ago, the enemy took the lives of my parents, along with 2.5 million people, South Sudanese people, during the brutal civil war from 1983 to 2005. I was left orphaned at just 6 years old. What I want to say about this is throughout my journey, I was captured multiple times by the Sudan Armed Forces. I could have died. I'm just reflecting back now. There were moments when I should have died. This is where I'm like so overwhelmed with life now and anger. Why? But remember that. That's what I'm reflecting today. I should have died. Because half of 30,000 lost boys died. Half. But the grace of God, my life was spared. That's the only difference. I don't know. Sometimes I will be walking left and right. People get shot left and right, die. We'll cross the river, people die. So many times when I was captured and supposed to die, I did not die. That's what I'm reflecting on. I now understand why God saved me so that I could be a vessel to Him, okay, to help save others. And that's why I wanted to just say that today. That's where I reflect, because I get overwhelmed. But all these things come down when you are spared. What is your calling to that nature? That's why I said, you know what? I wake up every day. I said, Lord, just use me, whether here or in America. What we need in life, where whoever is there, you reflect now, don't think about the darkness. It just need one person to propose to bring the lost books. I came to this country. I was not given billions of dollars. What I was given really is opportunity. And then thinking about the slave, that freedom. It was not like after that give all the money. No, it's that freedom.
They did. They became the first cowboys in America.
That you're given opportunity. That's what I call by God's grace. And that's what I reflect back, that had it not been God working in my heart, that you've been hurt about hatred, whatever, like the slave could have thought of those who are their masters, right? But you know what?
They could have been killed coming here
Yeah.
as well.
And so when I reflect back, I'm full of anger and upset, but the God who have grace. That's how I able to cope. Otherwise, my world is upside down. Some of you are watching today. You might have been hurt. It might not be an extent like me, and we talk about grief also, trauma. Whatever you have been hurt, somebody is mean to you, somebody did something horrible to you, and guess what? The enemy want you to hold on that, to be bitter. But it was Nelson Mandela once says, "There's no time for bitter." Being put in prison for 27 years, they're now reunited with the folks who put him to jail because what do? You either let go or that bitterness will kill you. And when you let go, that I think today we need to have that grace of God. We are hard on ourselves.
That's right.
We are so difficult on ourselves.
Well, we have this community that we live in here in St. Augustine has had so many things happen here.
Mm.
We've had Martin Luther King put in jail.
Ooh.
We've had people that they broke and they tried to kill people with the Ku Klux Klan. We had people that were trying to just be themselves and allowing to do the same freedom that everybody else has. And they wouldn't let them. And it took all that effort. And that took the Congress again to change the way that votes happen and to give freedom to everyone. We continue that today. We have another nonprofits doing all of these things. We have women that are here with children that don't have a place to live. We have jobs that people cannot stay with because they have something else that they have to do. We're here today because there's nothing left but ourselves with God that can take us everywhere that we should be. And I know this because I've seen it with my lost wife and how that happened. And we were yesterday with a whole bunch of people. Yesterday was very interesting that we got together with a couple legislators that weren't from here, but they were from other places, and people that were interested in helping others. And we ended up having those conversations, and this was after 2:00 in the afternoon, but we left till almost 5 hours later with different people coming in and doing that. And we just thought about all these reflections that we get because we started finding this out. One of the people that was there was the son of one of the persons that worked with me when I was doing cases, and he was a person that had been in the police side. He had done all of that, and he joined a regular company, and we had to deal with so many things about it. And then his son became one that became a legislator, and now his son is seeking to take his place because his term limit is over. And so all of these things were happening because the doors open when you start thinking about God. It's his doors, not ours. Our doors are closed but he always has it available for us to open. Just knock on my door and I'll let you in.
Yes.
And that's really as easy as it can be. And we don't have to worry about anything else.
Yes.
And we have others that are there. We have people who are mayors of St. Augustine Beach. We have people who are very active in helping others. And we have an amphitheater that hardly anybody else could ever believe with this small town could have one of the best amphitheaters in the United States and around the world. And we have even more. If you were in Ponte Vedra, you've seen the new concert hall that is now bringing other people in. And we are able to do all of this, including Fort Mose, to join us together as human beings that also understand the nature of God.
Yes.
And that's so much important.
Yes, and what I would say is all you have said here is what is each individual of us calling?
Where is your calling?
What is the calling that you're
Yeah.
called
What
for?
is it?
I am okay. When I came here, I could work hard, get a job, and that's it. But you have to pay back that community. Sometimes I teach in prison. Those who have been in prison for 50 years to how they can come back to the community. I love that because we make mistakes. But that mistakes, you learn from it. You reflect from it. And then when God got a hold of you, that's what the word grace is important to me. Grace, because I lived in all the things that I've been gone through that I should have been dead. It was by God's grace who gave me that. So when I think of that, that's why I'm like, who am I to be selfish that I could eat 3 times a day? I'm okay. I have health care. Why couldn't I lend a hand to other people, whether it's here or in South Sudan? We need each other as a global citizen. And I said, me personally, if I was not a Christian, I would go crazy because it is God who's dealing with me with the issue I have of frustration, of hatred, of being traumatized, of the because I've been hurt by the world. That's telling me that you know what, you got to trust the world a little.
Well, God has opened the door for you
Yes,
to walk through it and
because
help others.
because when you talk about God opening the door, think of this. What if that person did not propose the bill for the Lost Boys to be here? Would I be here? That one person. What if that God did not let my foster mom to say I have a 3 nice bedroom in Lansing, Michigan? Would I be here? What if when I came to be with my foster mom, and being in a foster care, by the way, is so hard. A lot of things goes wrong there. I was what do they call you know this, you are a lawyer. A ward of the state is one of my favorite that I didn't like because I had to show up to the court every month, make sure I'm alive. There's so much abusive situation going on in the foster care. But listen how, but God, I had a foster family that loved me for who I am, that took me in with my cousin barely speak English and put up with us, that took care of us, that truly loved us. What if there was no family? I had to wait for 6 months for somebody to sponsor me in Michigan, in the United States. I used to thought to myself, like, they don't like me. What if I came there and it was not a good situation? You see, I say God always helped me through others. And that's why you have to pay it forward. I've been helped. So what's my calling? Is to help others. And that's what you sound like in this great community in St. Augustine, which is historical, is always looking at help others. And that could be encouragement. Sometimes, yes, we not need money to help the people in South Sudan. You know what I like to do sometimes? I travel through the U.S., through our kids, through high school. That's the gift I can have.
Sure.
And I remember one child, just to give you one quick example, who was crying because there's a lot of depression going on with our kids today. A lot of things they're going through. This child was crying and said, because he heard my story, he did not commit. She did not commit a suicide that night. She wanted to commit a suicide, but because of my story, she said the thing that she wants to kill herself are not as that important as what I went through. That to me is a win. If I can save one life, it's worth. Don't get me wrong. Somebody that donating to SACO to give them. That's the calling that we are community. We are together, encouraging one kid. You give one way and you receive the other way. It's give and receiving. It's a blessing. It's the word that you always encourage me personally and others with a poem. Maybe that's what I need. Somebody is probably blessed with a lot of money, okay? But it's not happy because all they need is just a simple encouragement that, Rick, you can do it. How often are we checking on each other? Starting with my relative. Because I'm so busy, I'm this and this and this. We don't have time to reflect. This is why I love today. Sorry, I'm getting fired up because you have to reflect on life. How much God has brought you. How far? Because life now in America is this: let's go, 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 go. We don't stop and say, let's take a breath. Lord, thank you for today, for waking me up, for waking people up. That is a simple reflection because we are so stressed to say, let's go. Do I do this? Do I do this? What did we're checking boxes and we are not reflecting how far God has brought me. And that is what got me, my friend.
Well, you know that all of us have that opportunity. All of us have the ability to say, yes, I would go that way. I remember one of the things in Isaiah and ask, who will do it? Who will? Is it you? Is it someone else that you have to do it with? Or is it you?
Yeah.
And if you will, you don't know where you're going. You don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know where it ends. You don't even know where it begins. And so now you're there somewhere between heaven and earth. Because we are both of that. And so when Jesus was baptized, remember what happened. The Father says what he says, and he hears the importance of it because it was earth and heaven together.
Yeah.
All at that one moment.
Yeah.
All at that one moment. And no matter what you believe, in other words, you can believe in other religions, and we're not here to make that discussion. That's everybody has the ability to make their own decision. That's freedom.
That's right.
That's the freedom that we have.
That's why I said I am so grateful what God has done in my life. That's how I reflect. Others reflect differently through experiential. We read the scripture and we see what God is telling us. Some people look at the nature, but that's why I always say this is me, what God has done in my life. You and I spend quite some time is what God has done in our previous life. Experience is an interesting area for me that it's hard sometimes. My kids, for example, who are born in America, and I'm sharing my story and all this, and there's some part like I would make breakfast in the morning, and then somebody like, oh, I don't want to eat now, and then my old self come back. I'm like, how dare you? You have no idea when I was your age. No, I don't have a mom to make me a breakfast. I don't. In fact, I don't have anything. I'm eating dirt and leaves of tree, and so I have to catch myself as to say, okay, maybe it's a teachable moment, but it's just come out. But it's not fair. You know why? They don't know it.
Yeah.
They haven't lived it. So I have to teach them and say, you know what? In other place, be grateful, because no one is having 3 times a day eating, having food, a nice rooftop on your head, a house. It's a challenging to other people. Not to say that here in America there are some people who are struggling with that. It's just a degree of suffering. But this is why we need to stop and reflect on how far has God brought each of you? How far have you come from barely speak English to now a PhD? Sometime I'm like, God, only in America this would happen. Because in other countries, you will never got this opportunity to be yourself, to go to school. You are giving access. And I think this is what we need in life. We need people to have opportunity.
Well, we understood that when we began in America, it was for freedom.
Mm.
We had the King of England that told us what we had to do. But now we come to America, and we have freedom. We forget about freedom.
Mm.
We forget about freedom. It's only a word to many people because they don't see what it is to be there. And when you travel to other countries,
Yes,
and you see what they are, when you saw the immigrants wanting to get out of their own country
yeah,
just to come here
yes,
and overcome us because we couldn't take care of them all at one time.
Yes.
and they stopped it because there was no way we could do it. And then there were people that came just to steal from others.
Yes.
They didn't come here to get freedom. They came here to take away things,
Yes.
and they needed to be stopped. They did need to be stopped.
Yes.
And but there still needs to be a place for everybody
Yes.
to have that opportunity, which right now we don't have.
Wait.
And certainly they don't have it in the Ukraine anymore.
Yes.
And it used to be one of the very best places. It was the breadbasket for all of Europe.
Mm.
That's where they had all of the food and everything else there. And now they have nothing but things that are being shot down and killing people.
When you talk about Let's Freedom, you mentioned MLK, Let's Freedom Ring.
That's right.
And when he said, can't wait for the days that my child could not be judged by the color of his skin. Brother, you and I are sitting down today. If I say reflect back on 50 years ago of the history of this country, it may have not be possible. Look how far we came.
We're
With
a
our-
young country.
with-
We're a young country.
With our challenges, that freedom, you said you're right, we tend to forget sometimes. It's because when we have it good, my brother. And I start with me 24 years ago. I came to this country in 2001. Now I was skinny. I'm a bit, gaining a little weight. We tend to forget that. And I think the reason we forget is it's too good. Here, sometimes it's unfortunate to think about when you hit the rock bottom. You're like, oh my God, what's happening?
Well, it's very interesting. Again, another reflection that I'm having as we're speaking today, that I know some people who were from communist countries, and they couldn't do anything because the communists took over, and then they later got freedom. But it was so hard to judge because they took everything away from them,
Right.
and they stole it from them. If you were Cubans, you saw the same thing happen. When you thought that somebody was going to help, you find out that they were here to take things away.
Yes.
And that was what happened with communism. And you got to remember what you said earlier. And that is, at some point in time, God is changing that. And that's when communism, we saw the walls of Germany, of Berlin, come down, so that that you could go across. I remember going there through Charlie when you went through that one place to go to the East Berlin. We had to drive through all of East Berlin to get to Berlin, because you had to go through the communist side, but they couldn't stop you from going all the way to a freedom side.
Yes.
And so when you get to that place and you see the difference between that which is not going to ever give you freedom and that which is freedom,
Yes.
you have a totally different way of life in your life.
And it reminded me of 2001. I came in April 13, 2001, barely speak English. 5 months later, September 11 happened. And I was asking, with my limited English, and say, what is this? Someone described to me. I remember at 8 a.m. sitting in the classroom when September 11 happened. And once they explained to me, brother, I say, America, welcome to my world. You see, when you talk about freedom, is when we, the Lost Boy, were so grateful to be brought to this country that this is our country. And I'm a proud American citizen right now, where we tried to donate blood. And the people said we didn't have enough blood to give. Where the America, if you may remember, for those who, I don't know, wherever you were at September 11th, where men, the firefighters, would drive all the way from as far as other states to New York, where you remember that nice thing said, United we stand. I love that. It lasted for 2 weeks. I wish it was continued like this. I think that freedom that you said, my brother, Rick, is what even I reflect just being here in 24 years in America, is we tend to forget that freedom, where men and women in uniform are defending our freedom somewhere. And I say, America, imagine September 11 every day for the rest of your life. Every day. That's why our policy overseas, and you know this, you've seen this, keep us secure here. I have so much respect for men and women in uniform who keep us protected. It's a freedom that you and I can share our view like this without not, the man who has the gun
And the responders, all of
and the responders.
that can help us here and keep us safe.
Yes.
People to give us all these things to get us into a hospital and all these. People don't understand how significant we are in this country. And that is a reflection that we need to understand, because God is with us all the time.
Yes.
And I want to kind of wrap up here a little bit here so that I can go back again a little bit about what you have coming up on very short time from now.
Yes.
And if anybody has that opportunity to come over, just let you know, and they can come and do it. And I think if they'll just reach out to where you're at when we had this shown before, because it'll be a great place to hear these things happening and how other people are helping you and how others need to be able to make this thing work. And I just know for you that I'm grateful that you came.
Yes.
I'm grateful that we're friends.
Yes.
And I'm grateful that we see each other and talk with each other in ways that no one else can understand, because we know where you've been and where I've been, and they've all been different for each other.
Thank you so much. Again, I'm from Gainesville, Florida. I am asking you if you have anything going on, or it's a nice date, I call it, on August 23rd in Gainesville, Florida at the Best Western. It's called Reach for the Stars. The address is there. Also, our website is www.sshco.org. You can purchase a ticket. In fact, it's a $100 per person, and it's $175 for a couple. And then all the money again is for the good cause, is to improve maternal and child health at our clinic. We see a lot of patients, and this is how 1 year we raise money to give back to the people in South Sudan.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and it's a blessing to have you here.
Yeah.
And we're going to go over to Rotary today,
Yes.
right after we finish this. So God bless, and hope you all enjoy this rest of the day. And also, if you miss it today, it's on Monday. On next Sunday at 1 p.m. So thank you again, DJ's Clam Shack and the She family. We appreciate all you do. God bless, and God be with you.